Relationships and first world problems. Welcome to Elite Thinking Club, everyone, everywhere. I'm Chris Jules Julian, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Liz, Mads, and Michael. How you doing, guys?
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, not too bad. Feels like a while since we all got together, but it actually hasn't been that long. But it feels like a while. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
For real, for real. Right. Yeah.
Definitely.
Right, so relationships and first world problems. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And, you know, if you are viewing and watching and you have anything you want to say, please feel free to comment. That's absolutely fine. And if you haven't done so already, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button to our channel and watch previous episodes. But before we begin, we always have to say you cannot change anything unless you're willing to understand it. And you cannot understand it unless you're willing to explore it. A good debate doesn't get ugly. We may talk of things that make people feel vulnerable. Beliefs held sacred may be challenged because of life experiences. But we're not trying to make people wrong or to incite a riot, but simply explore. So welcome to the Elite Thinking Club. Okay, relationships and first world problems. Most people, you know, in the first world always have these problems, but we're going to talk about that in the second half. But for the first half, yeah, we have an open debate about relationships. So I'm going to hand it over to Mads, because Mads, I know that you like to delve in relationships. You watch a bit of Love Island too, right?
Love Island. I love love. I just love it. And I've been like an avid Love Island watcher, supporter. There's not one episode I've missed. And I love watching them, like all their little serious chats that they have, and thinking like, where have they gone wrong? Where haven't they gone wrong? Has it been communication or lack of trust or comprehension? Just love it. So that's why I love this topic.
Yeah.
I've never watched one episode. I've never seen one episode at all.
I love it. I love it. I love it because I just love love. Like, it's just, I don't know, just
Like
love
true
it.
love.
It's great, isn't it? It's
True love
great.
or Disney love? What kind of love you love?
Yeah.
Mads?
The idea of love or actual love?
Actual love.
Like pure love.
Aw.
Yeah.
You know what I learned the other day? Not the other day. I heard this somehow, somewhere. That our vocabulary doesn't actually stretch good enough to explain the different kinds of love. We just have one word, but it embodies so many different types. So you can have like love for a family member, or love for a friend, or love for an intimate couple relationship. You know what I mean? There's different types of love, but we just sort of say it with one word. But I don't know if it's the Greeks or whoever, but they have 5 different words that actually explain the different types of love that you feel. Yeah, the different types of love that you feel. I actually don't know what they are. So if anyone's watching right now and you know what I'm talking about, comment and let us know. But yeah, they actually have the 5 different types of love. So
Isn't it like platonic, unrequited? Oh, I can't remember now.
honestly, I don't know, but it's like we're almost lazy as Brits. First world problems. We don't even bother to stretch our vocabulary to actually get to the point of what
Mad,
we feel.
isn't it?
Yeah, we just think, yeah, just call it love.
Mad.
It's love. It's love. It's just
It would help out.
And
It
I
would help.
used to love like reading poetry and things like that, and like studying Shakespeare at school, and the way they used to talk, and they'd be like, Romeo, Romeo. I mean, it was a little bit stretched out, you know, how they would tell somebody, wherefore art thou Romeo, and all of the extra long words and everything. But I just think how they expressed their feelings, it was much more depth to it than how we are now, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I've had
Right.
messages.
You're fit.
I've had messages like,
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, I hear that all the
It's
time.
like, no, do you know, it's like, you're fit. How would Shakespeare have said that?
Yeah, I mean, being articulate is very it's a skill, isn't it? Some people actually don't
Yeah.
develop their articulate. They can't really express how they feel because they just can't find the words. Probably because they're probably
No, I
lazy.
know.
First world
Oh.
problem.
it's really difficult to explain, I think, in situations like that, how certain things might have made you feel. We have, but do you know what, right? This is not, you know, you were saying about love. I've also learned that we don't actually have enough words to describe emotions either. Apparently, we only have like enough to describe about 10% of emotions. So many emotions we have to try and fit into different like word categories to describe how we feel when actually it's not that.
And do we really know how we feel? So for example, if, you know, it took me the longest time to realize what grieving is, actually feeling a sense of loss, because until you can actually, you know, feel the emotion and have someone explain to you why you feel the emotion, you won't actually know the meaning. So you think you know, but you don't know because you haven't embodied it. So someone told me grieving, you know, as bad, as sad and as heartbreaking as it feels, this sense of loss, is actually love. Pent up love that you can no longer give to the thing you've lost. That's what grieving is. So it's not really a negative, sad emotion. It's just, where does this love go? I don't know where to put it. I don't know who, no one else can have it. It belongs to the thing that I lost. Do you get what I'm saying? And I didn't understand that before. I knew the word, I just didn't know the meaning because no one really explained it. So it's not that, well, it's not, I'm not disagreeing with you, Mads. I just think people nowadays don't actually get what words mean. Like respect is huge. Older generations always talk about younger generations not knowing what respect is. Yeah sometimes you just don't know what it is. You have to live a little bit and then get it. The penny drops. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
Respect is earned, isn't it? It's not something you just wake up with. It's earned.
you know, I was having that conversation the other day actually about respect and trust and whether you respect somebody. And I said, I respect somebody until they do something to ungain. That's not the right word. Someone give me a better word. But you know,
lose that trust of respect. Yeah.
I think I will always respect people, maybe not on like kind of like relationship level, like random people. Like I respect, you know what I mean? Like I respected all of you when I first met you. I respected Jules when I first met him.
But you don't know more.
Look, I believe that respect comes from,
or you get to know that person.
Absolutely.
I don't think you just should disrespect somebody straight away because you don't know them yet.
This was definitely something that we used to struggle with in the army. So one thing I learned about respect, especially in the army, was that respect comes from two things: admiration and fear. There are the two things that will get you respect. There is a mutual respect that is given instantly. When you meet a person, it's almost like civil. You're just civil to that person. There's a mutual respect there. Just because you're a person, I'm a person, and we should have that mutual respect. However, when it comes to deeper levels of respect, it just comes from two things: admiration and fear. You don't admire a person or you don't fear a person, then you won't have respect for a person. And that goes into all different types of relationships, whether it's, you know, well, it depends what relationship really. But first world problems. I mean, we still come back relationship. We're still on relationships, right? We'll go back to relationships.
Yeah, we're on relationships. So what I was thinking, right? So, you know, like the classic saying is like communication is key. So I was thinking you could have the best communication and constantly talk about any grievances you have or feelings, whatever's bothering you with whoever you're in a relationship with. But if that can't be comprehended, then that communication is useless. So is comprehension more key than communication?
But if you're with someone, you should know how to talk to them in their own language.
Not if it's a new relationship.
But then you just have to test the waters, don't you? And then you have to work out what works, what doesn't work when you're trying to communicate with them.
Can people...
I agree with Michael on that one. So there's different ways to communicate. Sign language is a way of communicating. Sometimes, you know, hearing a whole bunch of words, like you said, some people don't really understand words, the meaning and things like that. They can't find the words. The vocabulary doesn't stretch and they can't articulate themselves that way. So maybe it's not so much, well, actually it does agree with what you're saying. It goes in with what you're saying. The comprehension, they can't comprehend what you're saying. So yeah, it's pointless trying to communicate in that way.
But what if they just don't understand? Like, I mean, let's just say, for example, like, we'll go back to Love Island. So Liberty and Jake thought they were crazy, mad in love, and then they split up at the very end because Jake said to Liberty, "Oh, you're so messy, it's giving me the ick." So she got so paranoid thinking, well, he doesn't love me then because he wouldn't have said that, would he? But she was trying to explain to him her side of it and he just couldn't understand. So she was like, we might as well just call it a day because
then they weren't meant to be.
Can I just pop in here? This is one thing I okay, so how we are in this day and age with that whole, first of all, overthinking, but the second of all, the whole, well, yeah, this isn't going to work, so we might as well just jack it in. That's how we are in this day and age. Rewind 20-30 years ago, you didn't give up on stuff that quickly. You didn't give up on stuff over somebody being messy. Like, love is love, and when I say that, I mean that's warts and all. When you truly love somebody, it doesn't matter whether they're untidy, it doesn't matter whether they're this, that and the other. There's traits about them, there's traits about you, and that's part of the love. So that's why I think I can't watch things like that, because for me, I just think it kind of makes me see how we're not evolving as humans.
Yeah.
In the love aspect, because like, to me, like, that is like first world problems. Come on, like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, we might as well just jack it in, like, you know, because we can.
I do feel like so many people are doing that now, though. Like
it's a shame, because if they actually went the whole hog with things and actually gave time and growth, you know, they could have something amazing there, but they just don't allow themselves.
No.
Is it a first world problem though? So I remember this one guy who
because there's too much accessibility to other things out there and other people, apps and phones and everything. It's like, yeah, I can just meet someone tonight. Whereas back in the day, it was like, oh, she was the only girl in the village. You know, it's just.
Yeah, I get that. But I remember this one guy, he had like 6 wives and 2 of them got beheaded. He didn't like them no more.
Oh yeah.
So like,
wow.
you know what I mean? But that's just one example. I'm not saying that's everybody, but you know, you're right. I feel like I agree with you on that. It's a definite throwaway society. It's not working out, I'm out. We're finding,
or if there's like a one instant dislike, it's like, oh, that's put me off. It's like someone, when my single friends have said to me, I went on this date and he did this and it put me off, and I'm like, really? That's like, if he was a serial killer.
I said this the other day. To someone. I said to him, do you find that people go on dates now? Sorry to cut you up, Liz. Sorry.
That's okay.
But this is
no,
hot.
You carry on.
Do you find that people go on dates these days with the mindset of, I'm looking for reasons to leave, rather than I'm looking for reasons to stay?
To stay. Yes. Yes.
Do you get what I mean?
Filtering them out. Yeah.
They're talking about red flags, talking about ticking boxes. And I'm like, wow, you're not even on this date to try and look for reasons to be with a person. No, it was
straight. I have those conversations so much with my single friends that are trying to get in relationships. They're like, right, I'm going to totally be on the red flag watch tonight. I'm going to be and I'm like, if you go in with that mindset, then it's not really going to work.
Yeah, I think.
And I thought, it's crazy.
If you really want to look for something, anything, you'll see it, won't you? So if you think, right, has this person got any red flags? You'll probably we'll try and dig something out.
Yeah, it's all right. Everybody's got red flags somewhere. It's just that you.
And I think as well, you can't force love. And I think in this day and age, I think sometimes it's quite unnatural, the amount of dates people go on. And I get it, you've got to go on them to meet somebody. But I think it can be quite draining. People are draining themselves because it's like, oh, I've got to go out and meet somebody. I've got to go out on a date. And I just think it takes the niceties, if that's the right word, out of relationships. And like, you know, when you first meet somebody and you have that spark, or you have that instant connection, or you're like, oh yeah, I like them. I like their energy. I hope
it's genuine connection and not attraction. Because I won't lie to you.
Yes.
I walk down the high street and I get looked at all the time. And I'm thinking, oh, please don't be just initial lust. Please be genuine. But you can't tell these days. So you try and get to know someone and you're just being nice and you just, you know, you want to get to know them, but you're just thinking in your head, like, is this actually a connection? Or is this just like, you know, that lust, that feeling of, you know, what really breaks like a lot of people is that when you know that you're a certain type of person, and you want to be accepting of other people, you really do, but it won't serve long term. You know what I mean? It just won't serve long term. I found one of the biggest things like a lot of people don't do is really think about it long term. Like, why are you getting into the relationship? Because if you're not looking, like this is me personally, if you're not really thinking about, you know, long term, why do it? And are you being straight up about it too? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't done so already, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let us know what you think as well. And as you can see, Michael is still rocking the EBC hoodie. So if you want to get yourself one of those, the ETC hoodie, you want to get yourself one of those, you should definitely click the link in the bio and wear one. You can wear us to bed. How about that?
Some
Our
socks.
faces, soft
Get
and
some
cuddly.
socks.
Oh, you can get some
I
socks
actually
as
want to
well.
see somebody come on with a picture and put a picture on ETC with themselves in their bed
Yeah.
with the
Naked.
hoodie on.
I mean, oh yeah.
No. And actually, the first person to do that, I will actually send a prize. There you go. You want a prize?
You know what to do,
Do
Michael.
it.
Get a prize from this.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That doesn't include you, Michael. That doesn't include you.
Mads, so
Domination.
talking about it, yeah. So why is it so important to you? Because you know, Love Island we know is a TV show. It doesn't actually show the ins and outs of a real relationship, you know, because a real relationship isn't TV. I think I speak for a lot of people that are watching right now. You know, real life is real life. You are going to do things that upset people because we're human. I think they call it the 80-20 balance, right? There's 80% of a person you will love and value, and that's why you're with them. And there's 20% that you just know in your head, like, oh, I'm just going to have to accept them because that's how they are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, Love Island is absolutely, you know, I mean, it's real because a lot of them do come out of relationships and maintain their relationships, but it's accelerated, obviously, and they're given.
I love that you just said maintain their relationship. Maintain their relationship.
Some of them,
Okay. You have a vehicle, you have a car, right? And it decides not to work one day, or it's got this problem, and you think, I'm going to get that fixed. So you fix it. People aren't viewed as that. I said, like, they won't maintain a relationship. You got a problem in a relationship. You're just going to like, Jack, you're going to throw it away, or you're going to maintain it. And I don't feel like we have the same outlook on that. You know, do you get what I mean? I don't know where I was going with that, but I kind of know where I was going.
Yeah, I get what I mean.
No, it's right.
Back in the day, if there was a problem, they'll talk about it, work for it.
They fix it.
Nowadays, if there's a problem, whether you're
They
married
throw
or
it
not,
away.
Yeah. Bye bye.
The rates of
So-
divorces and separations in our time is phenomenal compared to back in the day. And you hear a lot of older people say, you know, back in our day, we didn't throw things away willy-nilly. We actually worked at it.
Yeah.
And it was more meaningful, you know, and you get these partners that are together, you know, till they're 80 and 90, and that love that they have, and the way people used to be then, like older people, they were just so much more wholesome, like when they would talk about each other and when they would talk about their memories that they had, and it would always be the simple things as well, you know, that they would do. So I do think that relationships in this day and age, I think it's really hard for people that are single. I do believe that. I do. And I do worry because I just think, is it going to get any better for like children, you know, that we have now when they're grown up? How is it going to be for them finding love and dating and relationships?
Well, most of it's online.
Crazy.
So it's a little bit
I
weird.
know.
Yeah, definitely. I try and thinking, you know what? I try and compare myself a lot to my granddad. And I always, like I mentioned it in a previous episode. If you haven't done so already, guys, watch this episode, yeah, because this will definitely open your eyes to something. And the reference I used was the exposure I have as a young man of the 21st century as opposed to my granddad when he was my age as a man, 21st century. I'm not going to say it like in a way that ever undermines. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I will say it exactly how I mean it. I've probably consumed more alcohol in my lifetime by the age of 30 than my granddad did his whole lifetime. I've probably seen more nudity on screen for 30 minutes and people having sex than my granddad has in his whole lifetime. I've probably been with more women, and I know I've been with more women than my granddad has in his whole lifetime. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been exposed to more violence on screen and in real life. Obviously, I went to war, but than my granddad has in his whole lifetime. Like the pace of life now has times, you know, to the point where, you know, I don't even think my granddad had an ego. I don't really think he did. I think he was a humble man. Like, you know, people back then come from humble backgrounds.
They were wholesome people.
Humble backgrounds. And my generation, and, you know, hands up, I'm putting myself in the flipping, you know, the category of just, I'm just being real. Yeah, I'm being real. A lot of ego, you know, and it's, you know, what can I say? Yo, that's your own fault. That's you. At least you recognize it. Yeah, I do recognize it, but you got to understand, I was raised with a generation where that stuff was available. It built the person you see. Do you get what I mean? And there's like a whole, like for next generations coming up. Yeah, we're going to have a whole fleet of them coming up. And who am I to tell them? I'm covered in tattoos myself. You know, you know what I mean?
Tattoos. Oh, get tattoos.
Yeah, my grandparents don't get tattoos. I'm a rebel.
Isn't that funny? Actually, there's going to be like a generation of us that are like, that have all these sleeves and, you know, and when they see their, you know, our parents, and it'll be like, oh, they haven't got sleeves. How come you've all got tattoos everywhere? And it's funny. Yeah, it is funny. Mm.
You know what? There's girls out there, and I'm just going to say this, right? And I'm going to say this because we spoke about this. I'm not sure how my grandma was growing up and how my granddad was growing up because I weren't there. But I don't imagine that my grandma was overly exposed. You know, I don't believe she would be. I just don't think she was. And, you know, there's a generation now of people who have a sense of, or a naive confidence of, just because I look good, I can get anything I want. This will get me anything I want. And the value, the power dynamic of value, it's like, wow, you got a lot, your sense of self-worth is what's the word I'm looking for? Find it, Jules. Find it. Is
entitled.
It's just delusion. It's delusion. Yeah, they feel entitled. And you know,
whereas our grandparents weren't entitled. They were just simple living, happy, humble, wholesome people. Our generation, it's very ego, very entitled, very delusional. 100%.
Well, I never dared show my nan my tattoo. Never.
No.
She never saw my tattoo. Just because she was against tattoos. So
yeah. Here's one for you. You're gonna like this one, right? So when I do a bit of talking, sometimes I go live, you know, a public speaking. One of the things I like to talk about is generations and how we're built to succeed but programmed to fail. That's the title, right? But hear this. I always mention this when I talk. There is a catch-22 cycle of humankind, and that is hard times create hard people. Hard people create good times. Good times create weak people.
Weak people
create hard times. And that's the cycle. That's the cycle. So if, you know, hard times shaped our grandparents, made our grandparents, post-war people, hard nails, rebuilding all the buildings that had been, you know, bombed and bringing back the economy. And, you know, as a result, we now have really privileged, luxurious times, which brings me on to the second half of the episode, which is first world problems. Now, you know, if you've got anything to say about this, guys, and you're watching, any viewers, hit the comments, hit the like, hit the subscribe by now. You must, because I know I know you feel what we're talking about. So yeah, guys, let's explore first world problems. Let's label a few. Let's name me a few.
Where do
the fact that we don't have the latest phone out, even though my phone's only like a year old, and yet I'm still like, well, I ain't got the latest phone out.
For real.
That is definitely a first world problem.
Yeah, it is. It is. You can't be rocking around with
the latest trends, like the you know, the youngsters. I've got to have Nikes. I've got to have this. I've got to just be happy with shoes on your feet.
It is.
You know, take your shoes off and go into the grass and ground. It's better for your soul. Do some grounding. But yeah.
Okay, first world problem. Yeah.
bold statement, but
Go on, Mads.
do you think that sometimes mental health could be a first world problem?
Well, that's a good
That's
one.
very
That's a
interesting.
great-
That is
that's-
very, very good.
That's amazing.
In
man.
actual fact, yes, I do think it is.
Or I was
Because-
having this conversation the other day and somebody highlighted it to me, and it was described to me as, imagine you're a man and you've got a family, and all you've got to think about, all you've got to worry about is getting food, going to work and getting food on the table for your family for the day ahead, keeping a shelter over them, having lights and running water. And that's it. That's what you've got to worry about just for that day. And then you've got to do that every single day. He was like, you don't have time to sit and think about your mental health or what you haven't got, what you're missing out on. Why am I not good enough? Do you know what I mean? It's like
It's true. And I've read a few studies on this, where those who live more simpler lives and those who are more sort of off-grid, tribal, like completely, they don't have TVs. They literally live a very sort of what's the word? No, it's like the Aborigines, but they're like nomadic. Yeah. So that's the word. Sorry. They literally don't have a clue about, when they've been presented with certain things, they have no clue of what the problem is. They have no idea because they don't have to deal with it. And they're all so happy with the smallest thing. You give them a stone or, a lollipop or whatever. They're just like, wow. And they're just, it's just amazing. And you think, you walk along the road in London and you go up to people and give them lollipops and they'll be like, what are you doing? I mean, I wouldn't. I would take the lollipop because I love sweets. But I'm just saying, and it is a mental health, I do believe, is 100%.
A first world problem, mental health.
Yeah.
I do believe that there's like levels to it. Let's get it right, because it doesn't matter. I feel like whatever culture you have, there will always be an element to challenge your mental health. So imagine if the man does go and all he has to worry about is getting food on the table for his family. That's all he has to worry about. If he doesn't do that, he's coming home empty-handed. That will play on his mental health.
Yeah.
Now, obviously,
True.
It's a lot simpler when that's all you've got to worry about. I wish life was that simple. You would see me a lot more happier. So I do agree with you, Mads. Mental health is a first world problem, like, because the stress level is stressing. It's stress levels, right? Like, but where does that come about? And why has it come about? Is it because we overcomplicate it with things like what Michael mentioned about the phone? I don't have the newest phone. Liz, I don't have the Nikes. I need the Nikes. You know what I mean? Like, are we putting that pressure on ourselves? Self-inflicted. Is it self-inflicted? That's what I'm saying.
I think it's conditioned. It's drummed into us with all the adverts, like, when you're at school and it's the peer pressure. I think it's very much around us on a daily basis. Even if you don't think, even if you're not aware of it, the subliminal messages, like the radio, everything, it's all around us. Even like with the whole social media, you see people on their holidays, or you see people like, oh, my new handbag, or this is my birthday party with all of these flower displays and the balloons, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of PC gone a little bit too much. So where people can't say stuff, and then if they do say stuff, then people have got now the right to be offended, when before it was just like, just live your life. Like, if somebody else wants to say something you don't agree with, it's like when I said before.
So what?
If people don't like what we're saying on here, don't fucking watch it. But because of PT, then people now, them snowflakes are like, oh, he said something I don't like, so I'm going to complain about it. He said I did it. He said something like this I don't like, so I'm going to complain about it. Just fuck off, you don't like it.
I'll tell you what I'll tell you what a first world problem is, definitely, is the divide. There is such a huge divide, like the spectrum of people, especially in, well, I would say we're all from England. So when you're from England, or even just UK, United Kingdom, I do hear about America, I do hear about the rest of Europe and all of that, little bits, drips and drabs. But what I've definitely noticed is the divide. There's this classisms, all these isms that just separate people. And that's a first world problem, in my opinion. I feel like, why have we got all of these separations? What? what is this? Because you go to certain places where it just doesn't exist. And
No,
they're
they're very
happy.
more
They're just-
community. Yeah.
yeah, they're just happy people getting on with it.
I think that's a first world problem. We've lost sight of getting on with it. Like, it's like that we have to create something out of everything.
Yeah.
You know, the whole cancel culture, the whole complaint culture. I don't like that. That's wrong. You know, it's like, well, life sometimes does things that we don't like. We just have to get on with it.
Oh yeah. So, I was having a conversation with someone earlier this week, and it was mentioned about like feminism and feminists and, you know, masculinists. If that's the male version of a feminist. And I Googled it. I wanted to know when it was a buzz, when it became popular. And it only became popular, both of them, in 1950. 1950. So that weren't that long ago. And the idea is, why did it just blow up in 1950? That means to me, any time prior to that, it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
No one cared. People just got on with it. Do you get what I mean? Like, you should Google it. If you're watching now and you know what I'm saying, you know, just Google the word feminist, Google the word masculinist, and, you know, Google will show you when the word has become popular. And it was both of them, 1950 and beyond. Anytime before that, no one cared. People just got on with it. It does make you question things. It makes you think, like, is that a first world problem? Or is it, like, you know, not?
Or did they just get on with it because that's how the system always was, and that's how it always was for women and men? Or it's
definitely
we
interesting.
start thinking, or, you know, in the 50s and thinking, hold on, this isn't right, we should all be this, we should all be that. Yeah, I think a lot of first world problems, totally, we've made ourselves. 100%.
Self-inflicted, yeah, for real.
Yeah, man-made, 100%.
I tell you what I did do. I got rid of one of my first world problems a long time ago. Probably about, I can't even remember when I stopped doing it. I stopped watching TV. I stopped watching television. Television programs and all that soap opera crap doesn't exist in my life.
I have to agree with you, Jules. I have not watched a soap opera since I was probably a teenager.
For real.
Honestly, I rarely watch TV, and when I do, it will be normally for background whilst I'm on my laptop or doing something.
But don't get me wrong. I have replaced it.
Watch the odd film.
I gotta say, films, YouTube, and TikTok. I'm on that.
Documentaries.
Like,
yeah,
I'm on it. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
that's basically what I do. I haven't had TV in ages. And then when I lived with a flatmate, I was like, oh, I need a TV license. I was like, why? I don't watch TV. I don't watch live TV, so what's the point?
I haven't had one for 4 years.
I haven't had one in about 8 years.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Good.
I know, Mads, you watch Love Island. Mads likes TV, but you know, this is the thing as well. Is it a problem? But I believe it is. I think that's a first world problem.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Now, another first world problem. Excuse me, had to burp blow.
Actually, yeah, it's a huge first world problem. So many girls watch Love Island, and it flares up a lot of insecurities as well, because a lot of the girls on there are like 10 out of 10s, like really thin, no cellulite, just like really pretty girls. And I know I can speak for myself, and I'm sure it does lots of girls. It makes you think like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like, look at all these beautiful girls.
Yeah, baby, listen to them for about 10 minutes.
Huh?
They're not very bright either.
I don't know. But some of them are.
And the ones I've seen, they're arguing about. Well, what was they arguing about the other day? The only bit I see, they didn't know what. I have to find it. They didn't know what something was. It's like, how did you know that?
A lot of them are quite dumb, but then I also think that some of them are quite, like Molly May, for example. She's very bright. She went on there to get the exposure, and she's now just become the creative director of Pretty Little Thing. A lot of them go on to do very good things.
God, hold on a minute. The creative director. I remember Kanye West was doing an interview, and I will never forget this interview. I love when Kanye said this. It still cracks me up to this day. And by the way, his new album, Donda, I don't think it's all that, but it's Kanye. I do love Kanye. He's a genius in my opinion, just an opinion. But he says, you can be a celebrity, and if you can relate the product, you can be the product. He goes, just look at Gaga. She's the managing director of Polaroid. I like some of the Gaga songs, but what the f does she know about cameras? And it's so true. Who is this Molly May? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'll be honest. I have no idea who you're talking about. So this is like you're teaching me right now. I have.
Well, you don't know. You do know Kanye West though, and
Kanye
Lady
West.
Gaga.
Yeah.
Cool,
I work
cool.
with Kanye.
I do think
for real.
last done. I'm not gonna lie, but
I love Kanye. Kanye is a G.
I don't think she knows what a creative director role is or how to fulfill it. But
That's what I'm saying. You just get a celebrity and put them on a pedestal, and instantly they're smart. That is not true.
yeah, isn't it?
This is what I'm saying. But a whole nation of children influenced by this will think that's the way to go. You know what? I used to ask some of the lads that I trained when I trained them, and I always say to them, like, boys, where do you want to go with your life? What do you want to be with your life? Like, think about it. I want long-term, mid-term, and short-term goals. Tell me, like, what's going on in that head? A lot of them didn't really know. However, you ask girls of the same age group, and their answer is influencer. I want to be an influencer. Okay.
Yeah, scary.
So what do you want to influence? Like, do you even know? Well, what can you influence that's not already being influenced? Like, what is it about you that's going to influence people to do anything? And this is it. The answer is, all I got to do is look good. I'll be a model, get my name big enough, and I can just be a managing director of Pretty Little Thing or Polaroid. As look at Gaga.
There's so many
Love
of
Kanye.
them. There's so many of them. It's like, how are you going to stand out now? I actually feel for people that are trying to do that kind of work, because to me, they all look the same. And sometimes when I go online and have a look at, shopping, like clothes, the models on there, I think some of them actually, I think, well, no, I don't want to buy that coat now, because it's like the model is not a normal looking sort of, to me, a normal looking woman. It's, there's all of the fake hair, fake everything, and I'm like, okay. And it's when you go through and you're like, she looks the same as her, she looks the same as her. I think I'm looking for the one that stands out.
What smacks it for me? What smacks it for me is we're breeding a generation of what I call bandwagon jumpers. So
yeah,
if the buzzword is feminism, or the buzzword is Black Lives Matter, or the buzzword, it's all these buzzwords. They're not doing it because they're the influencers. They're doing it because they're just jumping on the bandwagon.
On it.
Yeah, like this is what's in. This is what I've got to do to be an influencer. No, being an influencer means you be who you are and influence your movement. Like, be you. You got to be you. But the problem with it is they don't know who they are because they're too busy trying to be someone else.
The movement, yeah, but they don't actually. Yeah.
Love Island isn't helping with that, because what they're doing is they're putting people in a mold. They're like, to be on this show, you need to be this caliber or this type of criteria, and if you're not presented that way, you won't get on the show. What would be really nice is if they grabbed a whole bunch of different people, whole randoms, and made it very, very like, very, very, what the UK is, multicultural. Make it so multicultural, but actually involve culture. I want to see a Chinese person from China on there. I want to see an Indian girl from India on there. I want to see a white girl from Essex on there. Yeah, I want to see a black guy from South Africa on there, but I want them to be that. I'm not looking for a specific shell of a person. I'm a black British kid, and my skin, you see what you see. However, my DNA is from Mauritius. Get a flipping kid from Mauritius, bring him on the show. Get a kid from, get a girl from France, bring them on the show. All these different cultures. But the issue they've got is that they get exactly what they want on the show. There's not much diversity at all.
I don't find it worth watching though, because I saw an advert for it once, and it had like the guy, then a girl, then a guy. Every single guy went to the gym. They had a 6-pack and tattoos. Every single girl had hair extensions, lips done, boobs done. I was like, well, okay, I'm looking for the one that stands out. And I saw the advert and I thought, why would I want to watch them all chatting? What are they going to chat about?
Mads, would you would you call me smart if I went on that show? Because according to Liz now, I've got like, you got 6-pack and tattoos, yeah? I'm going on the show. Then all I got to do is become an influencer, and now I'm smart.
Does
that make me smart? I could be the creative director.
Candles.
No,
Oh,
see,
go on then, Jules,
Yankee
'cause I do
candles.
not wanna watch-
Get your Yankee candles.
if you were given the opportunity to go on there, I would say 100% go for it, because you would get yourself the exposure to do whatever you wanted with it. You could grow.
I actually think it would go against you though, Jules, because I
Yeah.
think you're better than that. I'm sorry. I think you're way better than that. And I think you could do other platforms.
Would the
that
people on the show be able to have the capacity to have the conversations we have here on the Elite Thinking Club? Because this is what I need in my life.
No, they put in.
I'm sure there are some. I'm sure
had a
there are
doctor
some.
in there. They had a doctor at the end of the series. She didn't last very long, but there was the doctor, and then there was someone else in politics that was in there as well.
Why didn't she last very long?
Last long, she was a bombshell. The bombshells never last long because they just get voted off straight away. The OG, the originals stay. Just the way it works.
Because they're clever.
Oh.
Yeah, it's never go in there, Jules, because I don't.
They had to vote.
I won't go in it, Mark. I ain't gonna do it, man.
I don't want to watch.
If I had the opportunity, I'd go.
But you do have the opportunity.
Well, I have applied for it for next year.
I love that. I hope you get on, Mads. You need to.
I'd love to. I would watch it if you got on there.
Yeah, Mads. I'd just support you. I'd vote. Obviously, I don't know how it works. How does it work?
To be honest, I just do it literally for the exposure and to have that platform.
To do what though?
To make.
What is it you want to use that for?
A lot of them
That's-
businesses, like Lucinda's made more than the winner's money just from her online business.
Oh, see, that's what smacks it. You're not actually okay. Cool. I'm gonna calm down on it. But I gotta say, this is my point, and I've seen celebrities do this and that. When you are in a position of influence, I think you need to be responsible with what you do and say. It isn't good enough to start influencing a whole generation of people to be a bad, and I say bad, what's good or bad and all that, but you know what I'm talking about. Like,
She's just selling clothes.
First world problems. First world problems, big time.
Like ASOS, like.
Oh man, don't worry about it. Don't overthink it, Jules. Don't overthink it. If you've got anything you want to say to us, guys, in the comments, then definitely do. Like, hit. Oh my god, we got a lot to say here at the Elite Thinking Club. We explore so much. Love it. I genuinely love it. Mads, great topic of choice there.
Love Island.
Relationships and first world problems. It's proper erupted. I feel like we've dug something up here. And you know what? In a sense,
Is Love
if it
Island
wasn't,
is
if it wasn't a thing, we wouldn't even talk about it, would we? People need something to talk about, I suppose. And I guess as well, another thing that I definitely have to calm down on is being sanctimonious. Who am I? Who am I to ever feel like, or I know what's going on in other people's minds? For them, it just could be their mental health. Talk about mental health. They need it. And if that's what they need, if that's where their life's taking them, then that's the right place for you to be at, I suppose. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You talk about first world problems, and you see we're so caught up in it. But then you get people who literally have bare minimum and they're the happiest, biggest smiles on their faces. And it's got to be some sort of science behind it. It's got to be a reason behind that. Like, what is it that makes them happy? So happy.
I kind of relate. I can relate. Before we came on live, I was saying how I feel like sometimes, like I'm living a life I shouldn't live. Like I'm living how we should. It's unnatural, like how we live with everything so fast paced. We can stream everything. Everything's at the tap of our finger. We can have things delivered. Like we've lost kind of our sense of human nature, really, because it's in us to go out and find. It's us to go out and explore. It's in us to go out and forage and things like that. And I don't know. I feel like I've got this calling a bit to go live off grid. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but I just feel like the simple things in life and a much more simpler life is the happiest way of being. I truly do. Yeah.
But our nature has made us into the position that we are in now. So that is how.
Yeah.
So we've only had about 100 years of science, and this is where science puts. So this is what nature has done to us. So we are living in our nature that we have made.
Yeah, we've evolved. I just think that strip it back and minimalistic and simpler way of living and being, I think is definitely, I think it breeds more content.
Yeah, for real.
More
I remember I said earlier,
I do.
Liz, it sounds to me like you'd be a lot happier born 100 years ago, and Michael, you can't wait, or you wish you were born 100 years from now. So you had all the gadgets, all the tech, see where we're at, flying saucers and shit. And Liz, you know, you're happier when we were just living free, living just, yeah, for you know, it's interesting. That is very interesting. I mean, I look at it like living 100 years ago or living 100 years from now. I believe that this is the perfect time to be alive. This is the best time to be alive, in my opinion. I don't believe it's going to be any fun in 100 years' time, and it definitely weren't fun 100 years ago. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I think it'd be so much fun in 100, or maybe even further, like 1,000.
1,000 years.
Yeah, like if you just get like a cube and then you put water in it and it's a meal, or you just take a pill and that's your food done for the day. And every car is electric. So you don't need, or all self-drive themselves. Like proper self-drive themselves.
Definitely hope they have lightsabers.
Yeah, I don't know.
We said that on an episode once. We actually did an episode
I hope they have
way
chocolate.
back.
God, can you imagine?
They definitely have
I'm
chocolate,
not putting
but you still
water in a
could have
tube and yeah. Thanks. How funny.
I love that.
Yeah. No, I do think that simple times breeds happier times.
A simple life.
I've got a lot of tech. I've probably got 4 TVs, 2 laptops, a PC, a pretty decent phone, and I am so content in my life that, I mean, the only thing I need now is a job. But other than that, I am content.
Yeah, but if you had a job, you wouldn't have all the time to use all your gadgets, Michael.
Yeah.
Exactly. They'd just be sitting there gathering dust.
Yeah, they've got to be used.
Like my PlayStation that I've used.
It is remarkable, isn't it? Like what you can make out of your own life.
Your life is what you make it.
One of my PlayStations is literally my TV stand.
Mads, I think you will get on. Sorry, Michael. I think you will get on Love Island.
No way.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think she's too good.
I think she's too good too. But if you did get on there, that would be the first time in my life that I ever watched it.
I'll be supporting you all the way, Mads.
If I am in a relationship, that will be quite difficult. However, I might still do it anyway. And just like
it's a first world problem right there.
First world problem right there. Babe, I've been accepted on Love Island. Are you going to go on it?
Going.
Yeah, I'm going on it.
Yeah,
your nana would never have done that, Fred.
Shit, man. Like, you know what I mean? What do you mean? I'm going on it.
the person that I could potentially
You
be
know,
with
your granny would not have done that to your
has
granddad.
already said that
She would not have done that.
He's already said I wouldn't care. You could go on it as long as you come back and split your money with me.
With the money. With the money. No, I don't know. I think no. See, going back to the relationship part, I don't know. You know, if he's fallen in love, and he could be completely different then, Mads. He could be like, "You're my woman. You're not going on there." Then what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I don't know, because I think if you were really in love, you wouldn't do it. But then there's the opportunity to it, and I think, oh gosh, yeah. What if you didn't do it, and then you split up like a month later?
See, I'd have to do it. If I was given the opportunity to go on there, I would do it.
I can see me watching
I would
Love
totally
Island.
watch.
Sorry, not sorry.
I don't want to watch it.
I keep seeing you sitting there saying, I've got accepted, I'm going.
Yeah.
Literally, you'll be packing your bag as you're telling him.
Imagine.
If you are on there, keep talking about ETC.
I wouldn't be able to tell you. You'd literally just.
No, when you're on there, when you get on there.
No, because they're not
people.
allowed
Is that-
to. A couple
so
of
is
weeks
that-
beforehand, they sign an
Go into
NDA, don't
quarantine
you?
a couple of weeks before, and you get put with a chaperone. You don't have access to a phone or anything. You're not allowed to tell anyone.
Yeah.
Is that a world we're living in now? Like first world problems, right? We live in a time where opportunities come along, and you're more about the opportunity than you are about your relationship.
It's mad, isn't it?
Do you know what though? You're right, but it is like that. Like the only thing that I can relate to similar, like think about is similar. About when I was 24, I really wanted to go to Australia. I was given the opportunity to go and travel, stay with my brother in Sydney. And I went, and I ended the relationship and went because I thought, am I gonna stay here, continue this relationship that might not work out, and give up this opportunity before I get too old and it's too late?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, okay, so the evolution of people then, we've kind of want to sum it up. We live in a day and age where first world problems are relationships. That's what it is. It's kind of both, it's kind of weaved into both, isn't it? Like with first world problems is mainly relationships, and not just relationships with people, relationships with, you know, alcohol, relationships with your gadgets, relationships with your job, like food, like consumerism. Like we've got a lot of relationship issues, and that seems to be first world problems, and that is what plays on your mental health, you know. But again, all of it is self-inflicted. You have a choice, you know. Just because you live in a first world don't mean you have to have the first world problems. It's all choice, ain't it?
No, I don't.
This is it. I mean, yeah.
I think some people don't realize it's choice. I think some people, and another first world problem is that whole, I know we mentioned like the entitled mindset, but also it's like the victim mindset.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, why is this happening to me? The world owes me. I deserve this. And so, yeah, I think that, yeah, we have a lot of those.
I love you guys. Has anyone got anything else to say about this before I close it? Anyone got anything to add?
Well, like I said, if you do get on it, Mads, like every month or so, just remind people to watch ETC.
Oh, of course. I'll get the.
Oh yeah, I used to do this thing.
I'll get us subscribers, obviously. Like I said, I'm going on there to build a platform. So.
True,
I think you should.
Like,
do they have like a diary room or whatever, like Big Brother? Do they have like a So you need to go into that, and you need to be like, right, I need to have a discussion. You need to get my ETC colleagues up in here now on the screen. Talk to me. I need to ask them what would they do. We need to do a vote. Oh, how funny!
I'd love it. I'd literally love it. But I think I
think you'd be very, very entertaining, Mads. I would love every minute of watching you.
I think, I don't know, I'd have to literally go in there and be like, right, look, take me to Cougarville. I don't care that they're all 21, 22.
Yeah.
Cougarville?
Cougarville. What's that?
Cougarville.
Cougarville.
Cougar, that's like an older woman, isn't it? It's an older woman.
When an older woman goes for
I was saying Cougarville.
No, I was saying Cougarville.
Wouldn't you feel like you're babysitting them a bit though?
Oh well, I wouldn't be doing it legit anyway. I've got to be careful what I say if I do get on there. This could get pulled out, couldn't it?
You've got a strategy, Mads. Is that what you're saying? You can have a game plan. You keep to the game, stick to the plan.
That's why she's watched every series, because she's worked out how to do it.
I love it. Right, guys, if you haven't got anything else to say, have you got anything else to say?
Hello, Clive. He's watching on the.
Do we have any comments?
Oh, wicked.
Only Clive's asking if I spoke about his 65-inch telly or whatever it is.
Okay.
That we're all on at the moment.
I love that. We must be massive. We must be huge, big heads.
It's like 20 inches each. But you put it on earlier and it's like.
Is it hench?
Yeah, like fucking massive.
Cinema.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, guys, what a great episode. It's good to be back. It's good to see you all again. Missed you. Only been 2 weeks. Still missed you. So, yeah.
I only just got back. I was driving back from Steve.
Well, I love it. Anyway, all the viewers, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, guys, obviously hit the like. It helps us with the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button. It also helps us with the algorithm. And if you want to, you can own an ETC hoodie and socks. So you can click the link in the description there.
And the mugs.
And the mugs. And the cups.
Actually, anything you want, you can get.
And don't forget our YouTube as well, because we're all going to go to that scary place.
That's right. That's right.
Is it 500 or 1,000? Yeah.
Well,
1,000 for the haunted place.
Yeah. At the time of the recording of this episode, we're actually at 203 subscribers. So that's really good news.
Wow, that's really good.
So keep subscribing, guys. It really does help us. And when we reach 500, Michael's going to get a tattoo. Is it 500? It's going to get the ETC tattoo.
Oh my goodness. We're not that far.
When we reach 1,000, we will be doing a live episode at Canuden Church in Rochford. So apparently it's a haunted one. So if you haven't watched that haunted episode, Ghost Stories, definitely watch that. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Right then, guys, thank you again. So everyone watching, all the viewers, it means a lot to us. And from me and all the team, everyone everywhere, peace and love.
See you next week.
Oh.